everybody, this is Roadblock with the Defense Channel, and on this episode of Naval Ships, we're going to be taking a closer look at the U.S. Navy's oldest aircraft carrier still in service, the supercarrier USS Nimitz. The ship was named for World War II Pacific Fleet Commander Chester W. Nimitz, who was the third American Navy admiral to hold the title of Fleet Admiral. Back in 2012, the U.S. Navy placed their first nuclear-powered supercarrier, the 1961 commissioned USS Enterprise, into inactive status and officially decommissioned the ship in 2017. Since then, USS Nimitz has been the oldest aircraft carrier in service with the U.S. Navy. After being built and commissioned, Nimitz spawned a class of 9 other ships built with similar designs. We'll cover the Nimitz-class ships each individually on Naval Ships because the length of time taken to build each one, which is around 7 years from order date to commissioning, new design features and technologies would be spread out over the class, making each ship unique in its own way. USS Nimitz was ordered on March 31, 1967 and launched on May 13, 1972. The massive ship was commissioned in the U.S. Navy on May 3, 1975. She was built by the Newport News Shipbuilding and Dry Dock Company in Newport News, Virginia. Back then, the ship's cost was $106.5 million, but in today's money, that equivalent is over $800 million. USS Nimitz conducted a few uneventful deployments to begin her career and was even used to film a movie before seeing any real action in service. The final countdown was filmed on board USS Nimitz, and a young Martin Sheen starred in the movie, and who knew he would later go on to become president. In 1979, the ship was deployed to the Indian Ocean in response to the Iran hostage crisis. On April 24, 1980, Operation Eagle Claw was launched from the deck of the Nimitz in an attempt by President Jimmy Carter to free the U.S. Embassy staff during the Iran hostage crisis. The mission was eventually aborted after a controversial military decision recommended by his generals and approved by President Carter after several of the rescue helicopters developed issues. In 1981, a U.S. Navy plane crashed on the deck of the Nimitz, and some of the crew responsible for the mishap were suspected to have been smoking marijuana prior to the incident. This caused President Ronald Reagan to institute a complete zero-tolerance drug policy across the U.S. military. Wait, why didn't they already have that rule in the first place? In 1981, 2 F-14 Tomcats from the VF-41 Black Aces flying from the Nimitz shot down 2 Libyan Su-22 warplanes after they engaged the U.S. naval aviators during a freedom of navigation exercise in the Gulf of Sidra. Flying from the Nimitz in 1985, Carrier Air Wing 8 inflicted serious damage on targets in Beirut, Lebanon, including the airport, in the aftermath of the TWA Flight 847 hijacking incident. In December of 1986, the ship departed Norfolk en route to a 6th Mediterranean deployment, and from there on to its new home port of Bremerton, Washington, on America's west coast. USS Nimitz arrived in Bremerton on July 2, 1987. I bet those sailors had a hell of a 4th of July party. In 1988, the ship provided security for the Olympic Games in Seoul, South Korea, and also deployed in support of Operation Earnest Will, supporting reflagged Kuwaiti oil tankers in the Arabian Sea. During 1991, Nimitz deployed again to relieve USS Ranger in the aftermath of Operation Desert Storm. She deployed to the same theater again in 1993 to support Operation Southern Watch. In 1995, she became the first American Navy warship to pass through the Taiwan Strait since 1976. And they did this basically to piss off the Chinese while they were conducting missile tests. She cruised through the Persian Gulf in support of Operation Southern Watch again before returning to Bremerton on May 20, 1996. In 1997, Nimitz participated in Joint Task Force Exercise 97-2 off the coast of Southern California, also known as the Revolution in Strike Warfare demonstration. During this period, the crew of the USS Nimitz worked insanely hard to maintain extremely high sortie rates and demonstrate that they could sustain the stress of launching and then refueling, rearming, and relaunching the same warplanes over and over again for 4 days straight. U.S. Navy studies indicated that they could have continued at this rate for another 12 to 24 hours before needing to stop to rest the crew and replenish munitions and aviation fuel. After this, the ship set sail on an around-the-world cruise that ended in Norfolk, with Nimitz entering the dry dock for her complete refueling and complex overhaul that lasted 3 years. On September 21st, 2001, Nimitz left Newport News and set sail for her new home port at Naval Air Station North Island in San Diego, California. She arrived in San Diego on November 13th. Once she arrived, she began a 10-month maintenance period and the Advanced Combat Direction System was installed. In 2003, Nimitz deployed again, this time to relieve the USS Abraham Lincoln in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, and also flew sorties in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. In 2004, the ship participated in the testing of the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program. In 2005, the ship deployed again and marked her 30th anniversary by filming the PBS miniseries Carrier, documenting the daily lives of the sailors serving aboard the USS Nimitz. In 2007, the ship deployed again in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom and also made a goodwill visit to India to improve relations between the two countries. In 2008, an incident occurred involving the Nimitz that might actually start a fight in today's world 11 years later. Back in 2008, two Russian Tu-95 Bear nuclear-capable bombers overflew the actual flight deck of the Nimitz, with one passing over as low as 2,000 feet. According to reports, there was allegedly no radio contact between the Americans or the Russians during this incident. A similar incident happened again not very long after. In 2009, she conducted another deployment in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. In 2010, the Navy moved the home port of the Nimitz again, this time to Everett, Washington, in an effort to save about $100 million on their annual budget. In 2012, the ship was used to test the feasibility of using the MV-22 Osprey tilt-rotor aircraft to replace the C-2 Greyhound as a carrier onboard delivery aircraft. In 2014, the ship conducted the first successful carrier-based flight test of the new F-35C stealth multi-role fighter jet. The ship and crew spent most of 2017 bombing the living hell out of ISIS. On March 1st, 2018, the ship entered the dry dock at Puget Sound Naval Shipyard for a standard maintenance period. That's where she sits as of the making of this video. The ship will likely be retired sometime between 2025 and 2030 and to be replaced by the incoming Gerald R. Ford class carrier USS John F. Kennedy, currently under construction at Northrop Grumman Shipbuilding, the same area where Nimitz was built in the first place. I want to thank y'all for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can see every time we drop a new video. We're going to be doing more of these more often. And this is Roadblock with the Defense Channel. And until the next time, we'll see y'all later.